These sources critique traditional autism interventions while proposing a revolutionary technological framework for future care. The first text identifies significant failings in conventional therapies, such as the forced suppression of natural behaviors and a critical lack of vocational and social support for transitioning into adulthood. In response, the second source introduces the hybrid model, which utilizes artificial intelligence and virtual reality to create a personalized digital twin of the child. This system employs a virtual shadow teacher to provide consistent, real-time guidance within the home environment, moving away from rigid normalization toward neuro-respectful support. By integrating biometric data and mobile-based coaching, this modern approach aims to reduce family stress and improve long-term independence for autistic individuals. Ultimately, the materials advocate for a shift toward inclusive, data-driven ecosystems that prioritize quality of life over mere behavioral compliance.
Today, we are diving deep into the world of autism intervention. And it's a story of two halves, really. We're going to start by looking at a pretty painful history, and then we're going to pivot to a much more hopeful future, one that's driven by some incredible new technology.
You know, for so many parents and individuals, this is the question that keeps them up at night. You go looking for help, for support, but what you find can sometimes end up causing more pain than it solves. So we've got to ask, why does that happen?
But this isn't just about looking at the past. The really exciting part is what comes next. We're going to explore a brand new approach, one powered by artificial intelligence that's designed from the ground up to be more respectful, way more effective, and just more human.
Okay, so first things first, we need to get a handle on the old problems. We've got to understand why the very idea of help has for so many years ended up hurting the exact people it was supposed to be supporting. And really, it all comes down to a fundamental clash in philosophy. On one hand, you have the old model, which saw autism as a problem to be fixed. The goal was to make a child appear as normal as possible. But the new neurodiversity affirming approach, it's all about supporting the person for who they are, respecting their unique brain and focusing on their actual well-being.
And when we look at the critiques of older methods like traditional ABA, they get really specific. The focus was often on just getting compliance, not actually developing skills. This meant things like suppressing natural, self-soothing behaviors like stimming, or forcing kids to make eye contact even if it was physically painful. Their whole sensory world was often ignored. And the result for so many, it was genuine trauma. The goal became about looking okay, not being okay. And the damage didn't stop there, not even close, because this super narrow focus on just compliance, it created these massive, gaping holes in preparing people for the real world. I mean, these gaps were huge. Think about it. Therapy was done in a bubble, with almost no training on how to actually interact with other kids. Essential life skills, like managing your own money or figuring out public transport, totally overlooked. There was no prep for future jobs, no coaching on how to speak up for yourself, and none of the soft skills you actually need to survive in a workplace. It was a disaster waiting to happen. So what's the real-world fallout from all this? What happens when these kids grow up? Let's take a look at the long-term consequences, the very real human cost. Just let this number sink in for a minute. 70 to 90%. That is the estimated unemployment or underemployment rate for autistic adults. It's an absolutely staggering figure, and it screams system-wide failure. And that unemployment number, it's just the first domino to fall. It sets off this whole chain reaction: lifelong financial struggles, deep social isolation, and tragically high rates of depression and anxiety. And of course, this creates a huge, often overwhelming burden on the family, especially as parents and caregivers get older.
Okay, that was the bleak reality. But now it's time to turn the corner. Let's shift away from the problem and dive into the solution. We're going to explore a totally new way of thinking called the hybrid model.
And it all starts with this one simple but totally revolutionary question. For decades, we've tried to force kids to fit into these rigid, one-size-fits-all therapy boxes. But what if we could use technology to build a therapy that actually molds itself perfectly around the unique mind of every single child? This model is built on 4 really powerful ideas. First, it's neurodiversity affirming. It respects the child, it doesn't try to correct them. It's also hyper-personalized, using AI and tons of data to create a unique plan. It's family-centric, meaning it's designed to weave right into the fabric of daily life. And maybe coolest of all, it's proactive. It uses data to see what a child might need before a problem even starts.
So that all sounds amazing in theory, right? But how does it actually work in the real world? Let's pull back the curtain and demystify the technology that makes all of this possible.
Okay, the first piece of the puzzle is something with a bit of a mouthful of a name: a highly personalized digital twin, or HPDT. The easiest way to think about it is like a super advanced, living, breathing digital copy of the child. It pulls in everything: medical history, behavioral patterns, even real-time data from a smartwatch. This lets therapists test out new strategies and simulate social situations on the digital twin first, in a totally safe space, before ever trying them in real life. And the second key piece of tech is the virtual shadow teacher, or VST. This is basically an AI coach that lives right on your family's tablet or phone. It's there 24/7 to give visual prompts, show how to do things, and give parents real-time advice during daily routines, like getting ready for school. It takes so much pressure off the parents to be the expert all the time. So when you bring the digital twin and the virtual shadow teacher together, something really magical happens. The home stops feeling like a clinic or a stressful place for drills. It becomes this structured, supportive, friendly space where learning can just happen naturally as part of the day. And this isn't just an abstract idea. The model actually provides a blueprint for structuring the home into 4 distinct corners. You've got a personal intervention corner for one-on-one work with the VST on a tablet. There's a calm down corner that uses smart lights and sound to help with emotional regulation. A motor skills corner uses motion sensors for activities. And finally, a family interaction corner where smart cameras can gently guide social practice. Now, this isn't just a random collection of cool gadgets. It's all carefully organized into a clear step-by-step roadmap that guides the family through the whole process, right on a simple app on their phone. And that roadmap makes perfect sense. Step 1, you build the digital twin. From there, the child gets to practice new skills in a totally safe virtual reality simulation. Next, they start applying those skills in the real world with gentle prompts from the VST. Then, it's all about weaving those skills into normal family life. And finally, the system is constantly evaluating progress to set new, data-driven goals. It's a continuous, supportive loop. So, where is all this heading? What does this mean for the future? Let's take a look at the vision for what intervention could look like by 2026 and how this tech completely changes how we even define progress. And this might be the biggest game changer of all. We're moving away from subjective checklists and a therapist's gut feeling.
In the hybrid model, progress isn't a guess. It is precise, objective, quantitative data, pulled straight from the digital twin and real-world interactions. And we're not talking about vague metrics here. The AI is tracking incredibly specific things, key performance indicators, stuff like a joint attention index to measure shared focus, the spontaneous response rate for unprompted communication, an emotional regulation score that's pulled from biometrics, and even something called goal acquisition velocity, which is basically how fast the child is learning compared to the AI's predictions. Which brings us to our final, and maybe most important question. We've seen how the old ways tried, and failed, to force everyone into the same box. This new model is all about hyper-personalization that adapts to the individual. So it makes you wonder, could this kind of intelligent, adaptive technology be the key we've been missing all along? The tool that finally allows us to move beyond fixing and start truly, deeply supporting and respecting every single kind of mind?